Hi, I'm Jesse DiFranco. I play Austin Phillips on Second Time Around.
How did you first get started in acting?
I started acting in high school. It's hard to say. I mean, I grew up with my brothers and sisters. I'm a middle child. They were always great athletes, and I never had a big love for that. And in high school, I kind of wanted to find my niche, so I started taking some acting classes, and I realized I got a lot of joy out of sort of turning into different characters and becoming different things, and I thought it was a really fun thing to explore. So I sort of just after that, I wanted to do as much as I could. So I'd say high school was kind of the time where I.
So clearly you love acting,
right.
But how did you get involved in Second Time Around?
Second time around, well, I did Health Heathridge at Kent State where I met Caleb, and he always told me about the project he was writing called Second Time Around, and I told him I had an interest in it, and he told me that if I wanted to come audition, I should. So I did. I auditioned for it, and it went well, and gave me a couple callbacks, and eventually he cast me as Austin, which I thought was awesome.
Cool. So you have become basically the face of the entire series. How do you feel about being involved in such a big project?
I think it's awesome, but when they say that you're the face of it, I think it's such a strange thing because I feel like I'm still such a small part of such a big collaborative effort. Like I feel like there's so many talented people behind the scenes that you don't see, and for me to be like the face of the operation to me is kind of funny because like I said, I feel like I'm just a small part of this much bigger picture. But it's great. I mean, just feeling like I'm a part of it in any capacity is great because I think it's a great project that a lot of people are so passionate about, and I know Caleb is passionate about it, and I just wanted to be a part of it in any way, and to be a part of it in such a big way is awesome.
So you play Austin Phillips.
Right.
How do you relate most to your character?
Well, I think a lot of the things with Austin were, I mean, I don't know if this is how he was intended to be or ways I came up with him myself in my own head, where he's kind of obsessed with specific moments in time, not necessarily people, but maybe moments he shared with them, and he sort of thrives off of those, and in a way, he's sort of when we first meet him, he's sort of living in the past in his head, and that's why I think it's almost poetic in the way that he gets to go back and live in a time where, in a sense, he's already kind of living in, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, even if they don't want to admit it, that they sort of are constantly reflecting on past moments and thinking I should have done this differently, and in this rare case, he actually gets to go back and do things differently, and I think the audience will enjoy to see whether or not he gets to follow through on some of the regrets he has and change them, or things are just going to turn out exactly the same.
Okay. So you have a bunch of like crazy emotional scenes. How do you even prepare for those?
I mean, there's different methods I think that a lot of people go through to do stuff like that. For me, it's kind of like when we're on set, which is nice, is everyone sort of keeps a very cool head about things. Everyone's usually sort of laughing and joking around, and I think if it was a more serious tone all the time, it would make things actually more difficult to get into those emotional scenes, because I feel like they make you sort of feel more comfortable when you're not filming about having to do those things. So I'm laughing with Jason, I laugh with Buddy, I laugh with Caleb, and it's fun, and then you feel comfortable around these people, and you feel comfortable enough to get into that emotional state at certain times, and they definitely enable you to do things like that. I don't know if that was a great answer, but
no, that was a good answer. Really good answer. Okay, so you obviously have a lot of emotional scenes, but what is the craziest and most fun scene you've had to shoot for the pilot?
For me, I mean, we filmed the scene the other day where Jason and I were walking through a bar, and I just loved the fact that they did it with like a tracking shot for a while. For me, I'm a big fan of film, and that's always been my favorite type of thing, is when directors do tracking shots and they leave it to sort of the actors to to sort of carry the scene for a while without a bunch of cutting or things like that. And I think just the scenes I get to do with Autumn, I think Asia's a great actress. Scenes I get to do with Jason and Brian, like I feel like everyone is so much more talented even than I am, and even to get to work with them and learn things from them is always awesome to do. So any scene I get to do where I interact with another one of these characters is always a blast.
What's your personal favorite character?
I love James. I know a lot of people don't like him. I think Brian's awesome, and I think he does a great job with him. He's just such an eccentric dude, and he everything he says, he's got such a big head about himself. He's so confident in everything he does, and he's the big man on campus, and the scenes where I do with him, I'm always like cracking up, and so yeah, I'd say James is probably my favorite character to watch.
Okay, and putting yourself in Austin's shoes,
yeah.
if you had the opportunity to go back in time and change anything in your personal high or college experience, what would you change and why?
I don't think I necessarily change anything. I mean, I think it'd be fun to go back and relive certain moments just to relive them again, because I mean, a lot of great things have happened in the past. But as for changing things, I don't think I'd want to, because I think that in the future you don't always know what little decisions turn out to be significant in your future, and I wouldn't want to affect that anyway. So I'd leave things the way they are, but it'd be cool to sort of, just to see things again, see certain moments you've been through. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys check out Second Time Around. Again, I play Austin Phillips.